Making progress on your big compound movements is great. However, many people neglect their accessory movements or single joint style movements in their program, and don't do that. It's a big mistake. There's so much to be gained in terms of overall resilience at different joints to injury, mobility, strength, and overall muscle development from really taking your accessory movements seriously, trying to push for progress and actually loading them significantly. There's a lot of people that can squat a lot, but can't do any type of serious weight on a Copenhagen plank or anything like that. And for someone who does jiu-jitsu or grappling, I think it's a lot more valuable to have a high degree of proficiency and strength and sort of mobility throughout a variety of accessory type movements for the hips, back, neck, while having pretty decent strength on your squat, bench, and deadlift and pull-ups and rows and things like that, compared to just being super proficient bench and deadlift or something like that, putting it all into that and not really working as hard or seriously on your accessory movements, whether they're more jiu-jitsu related like neck stuff or just basic things like preacher curls, tricep extensions. Those all help a ton for injury prevention and for performance on the mat. So today we're going to go through some great hip accessory movements for building strength and mobility throughout the different movements in your hips. Jiu-jitsu is notorious for building or for creating very stiff and achy hips. And in addition, it does require a good amount of hip strength and mobility to have things like a very effective guard. So these are some exercises you can use if you want to improve your performance at jiu-jitsu or grappling, or you just have kind of stiff, aching hips from training, or maybe you don't even do jiu-jitsu and it's just from squatting and deadlifting and stuff like that. This is a great thing to add in to help progress your other movements and maintain the health and strength of your hips. Like I said before, it's really important to take these seriously. Don't just phone them in. Try to really push for progress and progressive overload like you would with your main movements. Don't just throw these at the back of the workout. Just do a few reps and keep it the same every single day. That's what a lot of people do with things like their curls or lateral raises at the end of the workout. If you don't have energy or time to do it in the same workout that you're hitting your main movements, just put it on a different day. Sometimes it's very useful to have a day that's fully devoted to kind of these accessory type movements. Also, if you're interested more in building more flexibility and range of motion, as opposed to kind of strength more in the middle, check out the other video I have on that, on how I specifically use an unloading strategy to build better range of motion and control. These exercises will probably improve your range of motion a little bit, but they're more focused on kind of building strength and tension in a smaller range of motion. So we're going to start with these kind of abduction and adduction exercises. One of them is a Copenhagen plank, one of them is a Copenhagen bridge. I'm not sure if these are official names, kind of what I picked up from hearing stuff around the block. We're going to use a bench for this and some extra weight. You could use a box or something as well, or the side of your couch. I like to place a couple of these pads on the ground just for comfort, and so I can change the height here. There's a couple different ways you can adjust the difficulty. I like to keep the contact point of my leg a little bit on the knee or past the knee, so it's on my femur here, like so. This does make it easier. Okay, ooh, my hip's crunchy. You can just progress this by adding weight though, placing weight here, which I'll show in a second. You could also progress this by just kind of going further out here, which is obviously more leverage. The reason why I don't like that as much is it can place some strain on your knee. If you're fine with that, that's great. But if you can see how it kind of places like this, kind of places a bit of like an inside heel hook or lateral knee bar type pressure here. So if you did get heel hooked or you tweaked your knee or something, that's probably not going to feel great. You can still really work on your hips with just added weight like so. So I'll add a little weight and show you how that works. Depending on the height of the bench and how much hip mobility you have at the moment, you might need to stack some stuff up under your forearm or stack something on the bench. Just simply going to choke up to my knee, lift my hips up as high as I can. I'm trying to keep my left side abs engaged so I get all the movement out of my hip here. And I drive up. You are going to get some work in your side abs or obliques too, which is fine. I'm trying to keep my hips forward so I have a nice straight line. And you can obviously build up to much heavier weights than this. I would start off with body weight, maybe be able to get to do 20 in a row. Then you can add some weight there. Pretty simple. Really good for developing inner thigh muscles, better squeeze, better resilience to kind of pulling your groin and things like that. Pretty undertrained movement. So you do that, you can be ahead of a lot of people. Everybody does squats and deadlifts. It's pretty tough to be good at those. But you can do weirder stuff and develop some capacities that not a lot of your peers will have. Next one looks pretty similar, but we're gonna have the bottom leg on the bench. Again, I'm gonna go past my knee here because I did happen to tweak that left knee recently. You can keep your other leg on the bench, but push through your bottom leg. Get some nice side bending here too, which feels good. So that covers abduction and adduction. I really like those. They make a big difference for how my hips feel, and they improve your performance a little bit in certain areas, playing guard, squeezing submissions, etc. But really these are more about injury prevention and hip health to me, which just keep you on the mats longer. All right, for this one we need a nice heavy dumbbell and a nice solid bench. It's gonna give you a big stretch on the hip flexor. And a lot of hip flexor exercises that people do, like leg lifts, knee raises, they challenge the shortened position of the hip flexor. What's great about this is that it challenges you in the lengthened position, so it's giving you a big stretch and building some strength at the same time. Definitely ease into this one if you have kind of really tight hip flexors. I recommend starting holding on to the bench. You're gonna hook your leg under here. Let me see, is that not visible? You're gonna hook your leg under this heavy dumbbell. Hold on at the start and try to keep your abs crunched, your spine kind of rounded. As you sit back, let that hip flexor really lengthen. Feel the stretch, pull yourself up through this leg. Show one on the other side. A little weight goes a long way here, especially if you hold it up. I'm gonna hook in here. I like to sit on the very edge of the bench so I don't feel like I'm gonna fall over. And then you can go into a little bit of spine extension here, let your abs stretch a little bit. You get a little bit of a sort of core workout too for those six-pack abs. But I try to make sure I'm moving primarily through my hips, keeping my abs more engaged, letting the hip lengthen, and pulling through there. Show some on the other side. So those are 3 really good, accessible, low equipment requirement hip accessories for grapplers, jiu-jitsu, or just anybody that wants stronger hips that feel better. If you want a fully customizable program, a whole exercise library, educational modules around building strength and resilience to become a more durable and effective grappler using off the mat strength and conditioning strategies to build mobility, strength, and resilience, as well as on the mat strategies when it comes to more efficient skill development and learning technique in a faster, more efficient way so that you can save wear and tear on your body and stay on the mats longer, do better, be the hammer more and the nail less. Check the link in the description, join the community, and I'll see you in the next video.